They're going to get mad at me if I don't turn this on. Welcome, everyone. We will resume our meeting. We are returning from closed session. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's see, how about Lisa? Would you mind leading us, please? Since you're here.
All right. Hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and move on to adopting the agenda. There are no corrections or
So moved.
additions. It's been moved and seconded that we adopt the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We will adopt the agenda as presented. I do have a little bit of report out from closed session. In closed session, the board approved a settlement agreement in Los Angeles Superior Court case number BC 621687. And in closed session, the Board of Education voted unanimously to approve some administrative appointments. It's very exciting. We don't get to do that a lot. That will be effective July 18th. And those two individuals happen to be here, and we'll talk about you guys just a little bit, if that's okay. The first is Don Hendricks, who will be the assistant principal at Magruder Middle School. Yay, Don. Come on up, so people can see you standing there while I read a little bit about you. Don was hired on September 1st, 1995 as a social science teacher at North High School. That's where I knew Don, actually. Some of his leadership experience includes response to intervention, school leadership team, school safety committee, PTSA board of directors, school site council, member of the Torrance Teachers Association board of directors, the link crew coordinator for freshman mediation, focus group leader for WASC, and head coach for girls softball and girls basketball. He's a busy fella. He received his Bachelor of Science in Physical Education and a minor in Social Science at Evangel University in Springfield, Missouri in 1979, and his Master's in Educational Administration from California State University, Dominguez Hills in 1999. We welcome you and congratulate you, Don. Yay!
Just want to say thank you for the opportunity, and really looking forward to working with Ms. Nunez and the staff and the students at Magruder Middle School, and just continuing the good work they've already got started there. So, looking forward to it.
We don't need to tell you how hard she's going to be to work for, right?
Yeah.
She's a slave driver, that's what I hear. Great, thanks.
Congratulations.
Wonderful. And the second administrative hire is Sue Key, who will be the assistant principal at North High School. Yay! Now, Sue was hired on September 2nd, 2008, as an arts, media, and entertainment career technical education teacher at North High School. That is a mouthful. She was promoted to resource teacher, professional development, in September 2013, and later to Resource Teacher Project Lead the Way. Some of her leadership experience includes the Induction Program Coordinator and Career Pathway Project Lead the Way Coordinator. She received her Bachelor of Arts in Fine Arts with an emphasis in digital media at, the University of Southern California in 2001. And her master's in technology-based education at Cal State University, Dominguez Hills in 2011, and her master's in educational administration at Cal State University, Dominguez Hills in 2015. We'd like to congratulate you, Sue. Welcome.
Thank you, Honorable School Board members. I'm extremely honored for the opportunity to support and serve my local community. as assistant principal at North High School. I look forward to working with the instructional leadership team, the teachers and the staff, to support student achievement for all students. And I would like to thank my husband, Oscar, and my daughter, Chloe and Key, who are in the
stand
North
up.
area,
Stand up, guys, if you don't mind.
for their love and encouragement.
Yay! Thanks for coming to support Mom. Very nice. We look forward to having both of you working with our students and with our schools.
Typically, an expensive dinner after this is in order.
Whoever wants to buy it for her. That's, we'll leave that up to whoever wants to do that. Okay, and that's it out of closed session. We will move on to staff presentations and information. And the first of those is local indicators information presentation from Dr. Crumpy.
Good evening. As you know, the first official academic dashboard is scheduled to launch this fall. One of the requirements of the dashboard is that to inform the board of 4 local indicators that we will be using to measure and identify needs that are non-academic in nature. And so this evening, we have directors and senior directors who are going to each take one of those 4 indicators and take over the presentation. And I think, sure, Dr. Chang is starting.
On this. So as you can see, the 4 areas are the basic services, state academic standards, school climate, and parent engagement. So the feature piece on this one on the basic services is a look at the ability to hire and retain highly qualified teachers, and human resources in the induction program work closely together in making sure that we have that wonderful percent of 100% highly qualified educators in our district. All our students also have 100% compliance in the instructional materials. We have a sufficient amount of materials for all our students throughout the year. And we're fully aware that having a safe, clean, and functional school environment is important for positive education, and are pleased to announce that all our schools also are in good repair status, and certainly that combination of our bond work and ongoing work does allow for just that. So with these items, this will be reporting this item on the dashboard as the local indicator in the area as a MET area in the dashboard. So look forward to that.
Good evening. The area that I will be speaking about is implementation of state standards, which, as you all know, we've invested quite a bit in this area in our district over about the last 4 or 5 years with Common Core transition and all the staff in the EMB building in particular. There are a couple of different ways in which we could report this particular item in the dashboard. We've selected the narrative summary as opposed to a checklist survey type option. We feel like this is going to express a little bit more some of the specificity of the things that we've been doing. Our current progress measurements for this year, in which our narrative reporting on, has to do with the surveys that we use with teachers at the end of each professional development session, using a Likert scale rating system for one consistent question across all trainings, regardless of the grade level or content area. There were about 500 ballpark, give or take. This is featured in our LCAP, of those responses to that particular question, and we have about a 95% rating on that, rating as a 5 as the highest. So in addition, the other mechanism we've been using is just the professional development participation, the number of people participating. In the future, we're looking to shift into monitoring our PLCs at the site level, so we'll be working with principals as well as district administrators to come up with new language in this same form of narrative summary to, again, be able to report a lot of the detail. But as far as how we'll use any kind of numeric value like we use in the Likert scale rating, that's something will be in development over the course of this year, but we really do want to shift it off to what we're doing more specifically at the school sites to track this. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Kim, who I think is next.
Can I ask you a quick question before you go? So when you say narrative summary, you mean paragraphs of information?
We're actually limited to 3,500 characters.
Right.
So it's essentially 2 paragraphs. So we had to be pretty succinct. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
The area that I'll be speaking about is about school climate. School climate includes the two specific topic areas of school safety and school connectedness. Prior student surveys that TUSD students have completed over the last year include the Expect, Respect, Anti-Bullying Survey and the Team Kids Challenge Survey. There are other surveys that TUSD staff members and teachers have taken as well in the last year. They include the TFI, Tiered Fidelity Inventory, the SAS, Self-Assessment Survey, and the SWIS, School-Wide Information System. All of these staff surveys are available through PBIS, Positive Behavior Intervention and Supports Program that we're participating in. After reviewing at least 10 different school climate surveys, we have decided that we will be using the School Climate Survey Suite. So beginning October of 2017, for the first time, all 5th, 7th, and 10th graders will be taking this online thanks to ETIS's help. And with that data, we'll be able to disaggregate it for areas such as gender, grade, ethnicity, English learner, and other areas. So again, we'll be starting to have the 5th, 7th, and 10th graders take that survey in October of 2017.
So when they do the survey, it's not anonymous. The results are not, you said you could use the data by their characteristics, but the individual students would have their own information be anonymous in the survey, or they would be identified?
They would be identified. They would be logging in with their own TUSD credentials, so that way we don't have to have them answer questions about, are you a boy or a girl? We'll automatically have all that information already. The questions themselves in the suite are not controversial. They include questions like, I feel safe at school, where they answer never, seldom, always, things like that. So it's only about 10 questions.
Okay.
I can see middle schoolers having some fun with that.
Yeah, well, that is the problem with surveys, but that is the way to get information, too.
Correct. And now turning over to Mr. Pearson.
TUSD has chosen to evaluate parent engagement through local measures since there is quantifiable evidence in the areas of decision-making and parent participation. As you can see, we have baseline numbers from this past school year of how many parents participated in school and district meetings and have set specific goals to increase these numbers for 2017-18. Also, we will improve the use of translation and interpretation services to all of our schools that have families whose primary language is not English. In the fall, these metrics will be shared with administrators so that they are aware of what is being tracked across the district and how to ensure that their school information is captured. This local indicator will be reported also as met.
And so I think before there's any questions, just in conclusion, by reporting out these 4 indicators and how Mr. Egan will put them on to the actual Torrance Unified School District academic dashboard, they will all be met because they've been shared with you this evening. After lots of discussion at the state level, there is no punishment, if you will, if there's a certain target that is not met as a local indicator, and that helped because from district to district, how do you establish a growth target when everyone is deciding on what their local indicators are? So, again, the way that they're met is by us working through our school sites and then sharing that information with the school board on an annual basis.
Okay, do we have any questions? Anybody? Comments? Nothing? Is that clear, huh? All right. Then we will move on. Thank you very much. And our next order of business is another staff presentation on the wellness policy survey. We just were talking about survey results from 2016-17.
Yes.
Lisa Woodbury again.
Hi, I'm Lisa Woodbury. I'm the Director of Nutrition Services here and the Chair of the TUSD Wellness Committee. Ms. Reagans has been on my committee for the last 4 years, so it's been great to have a board member on there. So I'm just going to go over the annual survey results. We've been doing this for the last 3 years. Just go over the results, let you know the areas of strength, weakness, and kind of what the goals of the Wellness Committee are for the next school year. So, like I said, this is the third year we've been doing the surveys. There's 4 surveys in total. We have a school site survey that's typically filled out by a principal or representative. We have a student council ASB officer survey that's filled out typically by one entire student group on a school campus. We have the health services survey, and we have a parent volunteer group survey. Typically, they're given about a month to fill out this survey with multiple reminders, so hopefully we try and get as many responses as possible. So as far as the number of schools that have been filling out the surveys over the last 3 years, it's exponentially increased, actually doubled since the first year. All 30 school sites filled out at least one survey this year, so that's great to hear. So we'll go over the school site survey first. Like I said, this is the one where the principals or an administrator or a representative on campus fills out the survey. So we received a total, my graph doesn't look right. We received a total of 48 responses this year. So that's an average of at least 1 to 2 people per campus. And we had 26 of the 30 schools represented. So the greatest area of need has actually been consistent over the last 3 years. The schools indicate that they need help with grants and other resources so that they can implement training and materials to implement the health curriculum outside of the standard funding. And then there's quite a few areas of success. I just pulled a few. The schools indicated that they feel that they provide all students with the opportunity to be physically active on a regular basis, that students are taught the campus safety rules, that the cafeteria staff are well prepared, yay, and that the classroom celebrations involving food are limited to no more than 4 celebrations per year. So these are just a few additional comments that I put in for your reference. The health services survey, we got 21 responses and we had 21 schools represented this year. So areas of need have been consistent over the last 3 years for health services. They feel that the health services staff and district nurses need improvement and assistance in their ability to respond to information obtained from the annual health history forms. And the district nurses also feel they need assistance and improvement in acting upon opportunities to provide voluntary health screenings. Some areas of success for health services. The district nurses feel that they review and support the wellness policy on an annual basis, and they also feel that they participate in an adequate amount of community health information outreach activities. So just some additional comments for your reference. So then this year we had an increase in the number of responses from our student survey, which is great. The students give a great perspective of what's happening on their campus. We had 150 students respond this year, and we had 16 schools represented. So areas of need indicated by the students. The students feel that the foods and beverages sold and served on campus and events might not necessarily be the most healthy, so they feel that needs improvement on their campuses. They also feel that the nutrition education integrated into other academic subjects needs to be improved, and that classroom celebrations involving food needs to be improved. They feel those snacks aren't necessarily healthy. So some areas of success that the students indicated, they feel that their schools do a good job of promoting a drug and substance-free environment, that teachers and staff model healthy behaviors while at school, that their school provides all students with the opportunity to be physically active on a regular basis, and that PE is taught by well-prepared staff.
Can we go back to the previous one? So the students themselves are saying the choices and the celebrations foods are not healthy enough.
Correct.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's very interesting.
Yeah. Because when you talk to them, they indicate otherwise, but.
Those are also the kids that went to the trouble of filling out the survey. So.
Right, you know, the kid that's eating pizza could care
Well,
less.
what I actually found, it was actually,
More likely not going to
it was actually teachers having their students fill out the surveys, most likely on campus. So it's like a group of like ASB
class.
students, so whether it was
Yeah,
voluntary or not, I'm not quite sure.
What's in my group in school?
Okay, thanks.
And some additional comments from the student survey. I will have to say a lot of the comments from the students had glowing things to say about Jefferson Middle School, so they're doing great things over there. So the parent survey, we had
Pizza over the fence.
Just keep
The parent survey, we actually had 83 parents fill out the survey this year, and that was represented over 21 schools. So the greatest area of need, which actually, if you can tell by the percent, only 11% of responses felt this needed improvement, was efforts to coordinate with nutrition services when selling food on campus during the school day, since it does impact our participation in the school meal program when they're serving foods, and it might hinder kids from eating in the cafeteria.
Did you offer any incentives, like a cookie, to have them fill it out?
A whole grain, low fat.
Gluten-free hockey puck.
great response, Lisa.
So the areas of success, as indicated by the parents, are that the parent groups feel they promote health and wellness to students by incorporating physical activity and school-related events. And they also feel that they follow food safety practices when serving food on campus to make sure we're keeping the kids safe. And some additional comments. So the USDA came out with a final rule in 2016 that strengthened the regulations of what wellness policies actually have to include. Luckily, Torrance Unified has been ahead of the curve for the last 4 years. Our policy has either met or exceeded all areas required by the USDA since we initially revised it back in 2013. So major changes for the wellness policy for this coming school year 17-18. We revised the format and took out duplicative information. We added a glossary and FAQ to answer common questions that we get. We strengthened language to reduce ambiguity, and we also included the regulations in a more easy to read format so people can understand why we have what we have in the policy. On the left side, that's our 16-17 committee. On the right side, we've actually expanded and added, I think, 8 new members for this coming school year, mostly assistant principals, principals, and teachers. So it's going to be a great addition to our committee. So our goals for this, what I'm calling year 4, are to have consistent messaging implementation, promote healthy fundraising, establish committee leadership roles as our committee grows, and expand membership to new members. And that's it. Thank you. Any questions?
Questions, comments? Any comments about the wellness activities happening at your own students' schools, or anything?
I would like to add, we are going to be working with student groups across, I think, 6 campuses this year to have mini wellness committees on these campuses to get the students' input about what's going on and what we could do to improve wellness on their campuses. So,
Terrific.
thank you.
All right.
My daughter brags about being able to buy cookies, so,
See, but they're whole grain,
yeah.
but they're delicious.
They're apparently very good.
They are
so.
very good, yes. Yes, they know. Thank you.
Well, you know what, I think that's the biggest thing. There was a thing that said that they didn't think the foods being sold on campus were healthy, but in fact, they are different than the foods you would probably buy, in a grocery
Absolutely.
shelf.
Absolutely.
So they have been modified, and they do have lower fat and more helpful aspects to them, so.
Yeah.
And it's informing the students as well as the parents that is the case. So when they see them eating those pieces of pizza, Mr. Lee, they actually are healthier pieces of pizza on campus than elsewhere.
That is true.
All right,
It's
thanks.
like those diet plates. I can eat 4 or 5 of them for breakfast.
Pretty much, yeah.
I loved your graphics, by the way.
Thank
Your
you. It's actually a
presentation.
USDA template, so.
That's really nice.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. So, oops, I'm turned off. The next section is oral communications and unscheduled hearings, and I do actually have a card, so I'll read the instructions before we
Should let everybody
proceed.
go.
What?
Should let everybody go.
Oh, we can take a break and let people move on if you'd like.
Didn't
Go on home and have your
Dinner.
succulent, expensive dinner.
Bye.
On the way. Thanks. Okay. So, oral communications. The Board of Education welcomes input from the public. Those of you who are here, thank you for being here. We really do appreciate that. In order to discuss district business in an orderly manner, for the privacy and safety of the speakers, and to help staff respond more directly, the The board policies require that public presentations to the board comply with certain procedures, including speakers to non-agenda items may address only items that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. Time allotted for such presentations is limited to 3 minutes. The total time allotted for public input on non-agenda items is limited to 30 minutes. A speaker may not relinquish his or her time to another. When addressing the board, speakers are requested to state their name, address the president from the podium, and adhere to the applicable time limits. Complaints against employees or students will normally be heard in closed session, and the district's complaint procedure should be followed before discussion with the board. The board may remove disruptive individuals and order the room cleared if necessary. I think we already did that. Any person who willfully disturbs any public school meeting is guilty of a misdemeanor. And having said all that, Mr. P., Mark Pasusic, is here to talk with us from West High. You look familiar, Mark. You've been here.
Yes, here last month.
Yep.
President, board, cabinet. No prepared statements tonight. I was just, I want to apologize for the inappropriate attire, but it seems like we're in a relaxed.
It's a little more casual in the summer, yep.
I want to thank Don Lee for the kind comments last month, and Mr. Stefan, who motioned to let me finish my 5-minute and 38-second little comments. I'm just here just to echo what we said last month. And I know it's summer, it's a little bit more of a relaxed mode, but when we head into the fall, I think we get those committees, the committee going. I want to just echo what Mr. Stefan said pertaining to, and as a political science guy, history guy, I think he said something along the lines of sometimes things are sent to committee to die, and I don't want to see that happen. So hopefully we could all work together on this issue, and that's pretty much what I just wanted to echo here tonight. So nice and easy. Thanks.
Since you're here, has there been outreach? Have we formed the committees? Can we get a little teeny bit of an update?
Yes. Prior to the end of the school year, all the principals have sent in their names of the correspondence committee members. It includes 1 counselor, 1 assistant principal, and 2 teachers from every site. And so we will be convening in August when folks are off vacation to meet and start the work.
So will the teachers at the schools know who those individuals are on the committee?
We do, and I think there's a specific rule saying that you can't have more than 1 teacher per department. So Drew Hedinger was here, legendary Drew Hedinger. We're in the same department, so he's better than me. He's going to serve. But I would like to be on it, but if that's the rules, I mean, I understand. You can't just have the history department, so we're doing like 1 from history and 1 from, I don't know, English or science. So, but if there's room for extra people.
Well, and you can always, hopefully, have input with Drew and talk with him about it and get those things going at school, so. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else? There's a few more of you here. Anybody else want to speak up this
Just
evening?
keep an eye on us.
No? All right, so we will move on to discussion action items. And the first of those is approval of proposed, should I read the instructions again, Dr. Manning? Do you want them in the record? Okay, I didn't think I needed to if we didn't have anyone. Approval of proposed board policies and bylaws update for May 2017 revisions. First reading. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Moved for approving first reading?
Yes.
Did you want to waive second, or just?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes,
Okay.
I second that.
So it's been moved and seconded that we approve first reading and waive second reading to approve the revisions, the proposed revisions. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Moving on. Second is approval to accept the resignation of Peter Lefebvre from the Independent Citizens Oversight Committee, it's a bond oversight committee, and advertise to fill the current vacancy. Dr. Stowe, did you want to speak to that one?
There's really nothing specific to report. We received a letter from Mr. Lefebvre to resign from the committee. I didn't see him at any of our meetings this year, so maybe it's just a time thing. I can't speculate.
Okay. Yeah, we'd rather have a present member than a
Yes, active.
one that's not.
Well, the bylaws require
Yep. Okay, can I get a motion?
So moved.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the resignation of Mr. Lefevre from the Independent Citizens Oversight and proceed to advertise to fill the vacancy. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, go forth and do that. Next, we get to approve to establish a 7-Eleven advisory committee. That does not mean that we're creating a convenience store down the street. And to approve members to review district property for surplus and sale. And I do believe that's Dr. Stowe once again. Oh, motion?
So moved.
I'll second that one.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Reagan, members of the board. This is, if you remember back in May, Andreas Chaltis from Atkinson, Anderson, Lawyer, Rudin, Romo came and did a presentation along with Terry Tao regarding the use of excess property. And part of that, the start of it, is to establish a 7-Eleven committee that represents various elements of the community in order to take a look at that property to determine whether or not it truly is excess. And so we have identified 8 members of the community, each representing different groups, 2 of them from the North Torrance Homeowner Association that represent the landowners or renters group, to serve on this committee. And we will begin as soon as action's taken here tonight. I'll reach out to our attorney and we will begin to plan for meetings in the fall.
All right. Any comments, questions, anyone?
Looks like a fine bunch of people.
It actually does.
It does. Great representation.
Yeah, nice group of
Yes.
folks. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the 7-Eleven Advisory Committee as listed in the agenda. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thanks to those folks for offering
Yes.
to do that, and we look forward to the results of their labors, so. Moving on, we will approve the annual declaration of need for fully qualified educators. And I think that's Dr. Liberati.
It-
Oh.
So
motion?
moved.
Second.
All right.
Thank you. Ms. Reagan, members of the board, the state, California Commission on Teacher Credentialing, allows districts to anticipate certain openings where it may be more difficult to identify fully credentialed teachers. And what we've done in the board item is anticipated. We, of course, will do a diligent search and hope to find fully credentialed folks. But based on our past, we've anticipated 3 potential teachers that may need a permit for a CLAD, the Cross-Cultural Language Assessment and Development permit. 1 librarian. We currently have 1 librarian, again, hoping to find fully credentialed folks, and 5 in special ed. In the past, we used to make declarations for every single individual. Now we're allowed to do that with 1 action. And again, this is anticipated, always hoping to find fully credentialed folks, but that's what this item is. Thank you.
Okay, questions, comments? It's been moved and seconded that we approve this declaration of need for fully qualified educators. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Motion carried. And last but not least, we have approval of the Torrance Unified School District, California School Employees Association, Chapter 19 Collective Bargaining Agreement, and the public disclosure of said agreement. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Anybody have any questions, comments? Anybody, Dr. Stowe, anything to add? No? All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the Torrance School District and the California School Employees Association Chapter 19 Collective Bargaining Agreement and the public disclosure of that said agreement. It's all here, black and white. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, thank you, Chapter 19. And now we are to consent.
I will make a motion to approve consent items 12, 13. If I turn the page here. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And I can attach a motion to adjourn onto that whole end of that.
You said you stepped at 18,
Yeah, that's all there is.
and can we do
You
it
can
without
make a
the
motion.
adjournment attached? Because we
I
do actually
suspect.
have a couple of other,
Okay, good. I will
Report.
amend my motion to delete
Okay.
the adjournment.
okay.
I'll second.
Yes, Mr. Wormers?
No, that's all right. I was going to, we got 13 different change orders in the bond, and I
We
was,
do.
but that's okay. It's summertime. I'll corner,
Does that mean you're giving her an easy time of it? Is it's because it's summertime? You're
Actually,
letting her off the hook?
I've got other questions I need to ask Ms. Kay about, and I'll do that offline. It's about one of the school sites. I visited West High today, so, but I've got an email coming to Dr. Stowe, and I'm sure you'll be roped in, et cetera, et cetera. But no, I have nothing on the agenda that catches my eye, other than the fact, boy, it's a lot of change orders.
I went by West High today, and it's so nice that they're conveniently doing the huge sewer project right on the street next to West High right now, too. Did you notice that?
Well, there's no school.
Oh, that's wonderful to have all that traffic there. Good. Okay, so you're in agreement to let this go through. So it's been moved and seconded that we pass. We have passed general functions consent items, 12, elementary consent items, and 13, secondary consent items, and 14, educational services consent items, and 15, human resources, and 16, administrative services consent, and 17, and administrative services bond consent items, with some discussion to be had in 18. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. We do have a board calendar for the coming school year with lots of exciting events listed, so please check that out and see what's there. And there are administrative regulations revisions that are commensurate with our board policy revisions that we made, not necessarily associated, but go along with that. And now we have comments from members of the board. And Mr. Wormers is here to give us a report on what's happening at SoCal Rock.
We have formed a subcommittee to discuss some of the future of SoCal Rock. I'm part of that subcommittee, and our first phone call conversation is next week, so we'll see where it goes. We had representatives from Mr. Marisucci's office come down and see us, which was an interesting experience. And we are getting funding from the state, so that will be interesting to see how that changes the landscape slightly. But I think unless they dial back their attention, they're very aware of the fact that they're on a short notice, although it's been extended for another 4 or 5 years, so we'll see how it goes.
Yep, keep hobbling along. Okay, any other comments from anybody else? I have a couple of things. Mr. Lee?
No, thank you.
I did neglect to say that Mr. Stefan is traveling for the summer, so that's why he's not here with us. He's here in spirit, I'm sure. I did want to identify classified employees that have some anniversary increments that are coming up this summer. And there are a few of them. For 10 years of accredited service, there is Lycam Lee. For 15 years of accredited service is Sergio Burkiaga. I think that's correct. And for 20 years of accredited service, Barbara St. John at North High School. I know Barbara well. Wow, it's been there for a while. And I did want to point out that one of the items on the agenda in the general functions consent, it's actually item number 12.6, talks about a revision to our board meeting schedule. The dates of the board meetings are the same. However, we are altering our beginning time from 7:30 to 7 o'clock. So we will be starting a little bit earlier. I think it's more community-friendly to have it a little earlier, and then we actually sort of coincide with other city meetings that happen at 7 o'clock on other days of the week, too. So hopefully people will be able to remember that and be with us at 7 o'clock.
And that starts with the next.
Beginning in July, or August 7th. Actually, in fact, it does say July here, too. So, and August, and from then forward. And the other thing that I wanted to point out is we have been having 2 different recognition meetings in a school year, and we had been using the city council chambers. We're going to try to bring it to our own home facilities this year. So we will probably be moving to a large auditorium in one of our schools this year, with the location to be determined still, but probably Torrance High School, since it's now completed and ready for use, and that's very exciting, too. I think that is it, aside from adjournment. Now, can I have a motion for adjournment, Mr. Lee?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded, we adjourn. We are adjourning in memoriam of retired teacher James Russell and retired teacher Vicki Breeze. Gary Breeze was the head of TTA here in town for a long period of time, so got well acquainted with Vicki. Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We're done. Thank you, folks.
I did not.
See you
open
next
that
month.
letter.